Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Indie Credible Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Xander Scullion, and I'm joined with Mr. Jeff.
Incredible.
Ooh, look at this! Is that a coaster, my friend?
It is a slate coaster, so doing custom stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if my camera's backward or not on the recording, but
let's see. I can see it perfectly. Yeah, it looks great.
But yeah, it's laser etched, so literally just took our logo and laser etched it, and now I can put drinks on it. So that's cool.
We do love our beverages on this podcast, but also, as much as we love beverages, we also love indie games. And man, you know, I know the last couple episodes I didn't really have a whole lot of games I was talking about, so last night I had some free time, sat down and revisited a game that I played years ago. I did a review of, I had a review copy, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna go and play it back. Have you ever played a game called Nefarious?
Nefarious, yeah.
Yeah, so
highly cartoony, right?
Yeah, and it's a good game. It's not a perfect game. It's got its, you know, quirks or whatever. But what I really like about Nefarious is you play as the bad guy. Like you're, you know, trying to kidnap the princess. You got her, and like everyone's trying to stop you. And what's really interesting is like in the boss battles, you are the boss. As opposed to like battling a big mech inside, you're actually the mech and you're trying to stop the hero. So I was playing that, having a lot of fun, and I went down the rabbit hole on Steam and found out they are coming out with a brand new game called Gym Retro Junk.
Jim's Retro Junk or Jim Retro Junk?
Does
Jim have like, retro junk?
It's this Jim. Like a sparkly
Ball's brain is not working for jokes right now, people. like we're talking about junk that's retro.
But this was a very interesting. It's an action RPG of all things, and it's a point and click sort of game. But it also has like some mechanics, like some racing mechanics, as well as like shooting levels too. And I do apologize. It's not Gym Retro City. It's Neo Junk City. That's the name of it. Completely different.
Jim's Retro Junk. like how he gets the gym people like literally 2 minutes ago, and he's like sitting there like staring, like his brain is slowly creaking, and he's thinking the wrong name, and I already had Neo Junk City queued up.
I was like, the more I was saying it, I'm like, that is not the name of the title. But yes, this is Neo Junk City. It's a point and click adventure, fast pace. Has retro gaming, racing, and shooting. It looks really, really cool. Kind of has like an animalistic kind of art style to it. Looks cool.
Now, is the shooting, because I was, as you say, like the music that plays and freaks you out. See, I'm going to keep it going. But is the shooting, because it looks like there's like some walking around it. Looks like that there's also like a story mode. There's racing, which is a la like Horizon.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Horizon game. I can't remember the full name of it. But it's the retro looking one. But there's a screenshot. It looks like Hogan's Alley.
Yeah. And I'm wondering if you do all that with your mouse. I wonder if you can play the whole game with like a mouse and keyboard like that.
I don't know, but there's another screen that looks like a Super Scope 6 level, and then there's side-scrolling levels. So, like, I don't know if the side-scrolling levels are just story, or if that's actually, like, Contra-style gameplay. Looks like it's a mixed match of ridiculousness.
Yeah, and there's a demo out for it right now. I haven't tried the demo yet, but I saw it pop up, and I'm like, let me put this in the show notes before I forget. Oh, yeah.
Dope.
It's really good.
Yeah. That's freaking wild. Weird and wild stuff. So, one thing that we talked about last episode was taking the top 10 games of the indie games that I'm doing and finding a game of the month. And so I ended up picking Blade Chimera as my game of the month and played the hell out of it. So, Silver Set, Symphony of the Night with guns. Like it was ridiculous. And then I'm like going through the levels and you slowly get abilities, but you can like throw your sword because you get like a spirit sword. You can throw the sword into like the side platforms and use it as an extra platform to jump up. There's ways to do blocks, but then you also get an extra sword. Like you get a blade and a guns, and then I noticed that the guns like would not attack all enemies, but if I used the ninja stars, which I was throwing ninja stars and it would attack certain like spirits and things. So I was using shurikens combined with this giant slower sword that like killed everything in almost one hit, and it's wild, ridiculous.
Yeah, Ladybug Studios, they know what to do. I mean, you saw what I mean though when you start playing it and how similar it is to Record of Lodoss War. It's almost like the same engine. Like I was playing it, which is not a bad thing. 'Cause I love that Metroidvania.
And I feel like this is like their first Metroidvania that's their own IP. Yes, they have Record of Lodoss War, and then they have another one that's also an IP game. But they also do have their own IP with a shoot 'em up as well that I need to check out because there's definitely a shoot 'em up. But the other thing I said was I was gonna make a cool item based on the game of the month, so I did make a cool item. And so this right here, it looks like it's a Blade Chimera. As you can see, there's like a little bit of see-through with it because it's all etched. Down, you can see that in the pictures that I sent you. It's but essentially, this looks like almost like a painting, like a stained glass art painting, laser etched Blade Chimera with the sword guy and everything. And, yeah, you can see like the different character pieces, but I custom make these based on the actual art getting etched as well as then doing my own vector based graphic work. So that way it's like it looks like nothing else. This thing looks cool as hell. Very, very complex. Very complex.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but I thought it would be cool to do. I gotta figure a way to display it now because like this is a thin piece of wood. Like, here's the coaster compared to it. It's tiny thin thing that warps, but I'd like to put it in like maybe I'll put it in like a little protector sleeve or something. And if I do when I do February's or whatever, if I do one for February, like and like display them or something. I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. But Blade Chimera is cool. It's in my backlog now. And I just paused it because I ran out of time that day, so I'm planning on going back because it's queued up on my Steam Deck. Like, that'll be the next game that I play.
Yeah, and for those that are listening, if you're wondering if it's on console, yes, it is. I actually have it on the Nintendo Switch, so I'm pretty sure there'll be a physical in the long run. I'm pretty sure there will be. I'll definitely get that. If it comes out physically, I'll get it on PS5. That way I'll have the physical on PS5 and digital on Switch. I'll be good to go.
You play PlayStation, huh? Yeah, I don't collect PlayStation. That's my stuff. So it's like, yeah, it'd be wild to think about like PlayStation for it because I would not play it.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, those kind of games. I mean, they're fine on the Switch. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or on Steam Deck or whatever. Yeah, I enjoy them all aspects of gaming, and yeah, I really like for modern consoles. Like, I just use it for the major IPs, and the fact that I can play most of the major stuff on a Windows PC is like, all right. So what is PlayStation actually giving us? Astrobot, cool. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna play.
Oh yeah,
and then like Nintendo Switch is like major Nintendo IPs, and I'm actually in the process. I have my Switch back here. it's plugged in, so I can't really show it off, but it's back here. But I'm in the process of like sorting out what I need to play backlog, because I haven't played the Switch in like months, so I need to.
Yeah.
Like, I have Donkey Kong Country HD. I need to get it. I need to play it or whatever. So
I totally forgot that game was even coming out. I saw folks start putting up reviews on YouTube. I'm like, oh, I forgot that was coming out.
Now the YouTube are gone, and it's like it's go like you get about like 3 or 4 days of YouTube reviews, and then they move on to the next shiny thing. So that's very like. Because one of the games that I do want to play, the indie style, is Pepper Grinder. I need to play that, and I have it on Switch physically. So that is one that I 100% need to knock out of my backlog.
Yeah,
Pepper Grinder is fucking awesome.
Indeed. Yeah, I remember you mentioned that on a previous episode. I need to go back and kind of recategorize my Switch library and go through some of the indie games, because I have some indie games on the Switch that I hadn't played in so long. It would almost feel like playing a brand new game again, and I would love to talk about them in this episode. Maybe revisit some of my reviews, kind of do a retrospective on like what I thought back then and what I think now, especially knowing more about the indie scene and indies. As opposed to a couple of years ago, and it was just something I was into, and didn't become a mild obsession with a podcast. Just a tiny obsession. I was totally not adding like 5 games to my wish list after every recording. That's totally, exaggerated. It's exaggerated, totally.
I mean, I went down the Steam sale rabbit hole this week and added another like 15 games. Because it's like, I went down in a different genre than Metroidvania this time and looked at action RPGs, and there were a shit ton that I didn't have. And now I got a bunch of random obscure stuff that looks cool. And that's how this works, man. It's nasty. So the my game on the retro randomizer for the week, though, an interesting one. So Fist Slash of Ultimate Fury. The box art on it, or the screenshot, or whatever, looks like a bootleg looking poor artwork, almost like a Famicom thing. But you look at the screenshots, and it's freaking like Power Blade or Shatterhand.
Yeah,
and the game is really good. I played the hell out of it. Played like probably 2 levels maybe, because the levels are long as shit. Like, I didn't expect that, but going through is interesting because you're going through like level by level. The enemies are coming at you just like in Splatter or Shatterhand, just like Shatterhand. Splatter Fist.
That's probably a game we don't even know yet.
Oh no, there's probably something for every say, but as you're going through the levels, like you're fighting lots of samey enemies, taking them out, destroying them. But the thing is that you get these power ups. It's very, very, for me at least, easy. And I'm not sure if there was a difficulty setting. Maybe you can ramp it up, but. Like, the one thing that I thought was weird was the way that you have to, like, because you have to do some kind of, like, wall jumps. And the way you do, you almost have to, like, hold the damn button. Like, a different way. You have to, like, press it each time you go to the wall when you jump. So it was, like, counterintuitive. It wasn't, like, the modern wall jump where you just go, ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. Like, it almost was, like, less intuitive than Super Metroid's wall jump.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was just awkward every single time I had to do it, and I definitely fell a few times.
Yeah, well, there's some games I played in the past that had like wonky wall jumps like that, and sometimes that can really take you out of the immersion. Because I think when they're programming these games, I mean they're keeping like the retro in mind. They're like, well, maybe this game was like theoretically before Super Metroid, so it was like before the Super Metroid wall jump mechanic was a thing, and we're going to kind of throw our own twist on it, and
Well, I mean, like this is the NES era looking graphics where they actually look like they're trying to, move toward the smaller color palettes. But like Ninja Gaiden's wall jump's perfect.
Yeah.
And it's still a slight bit jank, and it's fine. This one is not the same, and it's for me, it just wasn't that was the only thing though. Everything else, like you can just run through and enjoy yourself with the difficulty. It says though 8-bit difficulty and 8-bit smell.
8-bit smell?
8-bit smell, it says on there in the trailer, so.
It smells like stale cigarettes.
The slash. like very interesting game. The thing is though, is that like even Shatterhand have a gimmick, right?
Yeah.
So like you don't even have like this is just straight up just 8-bit action platformer, whereas there's no extra gimmickry like being able to transform into a robot or doing any of the extra stuff like you would do in these later released NES games that it's trying to adhere to. There was a game on the Famicom, or I think it was the Famicom Disk System. I'm not sure if you've played it or heard of it. It's called Miracle of Almana.
No, I hadn't heard of that.
So, Miracle of Almana was published by a small company called Konami. I don't think you've ever heard of Konami platformers from back in the day. They're known for having okay games, Konami games. But this one, if you look at the box art, it looks like Indiana Jones. You're playing through caverns. It looks like it would be the most badass game. And you have this little ass whip, and it does not have a good trajectory, and the game it actually is pretty bad to play because of that. And
you had me intrigued.
So this feels like, this little whip that you have, this little attack that you have. However, it's better than Miracle of Almana's like whip slash. But yeah, like it was the Miracle of Almana game was one of those that when I found out about it back like over 10 years ago when I was writing my NES, I was like, oh, this is a freaking hidden gem, and I played it, and I'm like, oh man, it's so close, so close to being good. There are people who swear by it though.
I know you had me intrigued, and then you're like, and the whip isn't that great. And I'm like, and I'm done.
Pull the rug out from you. Like I had to lay the carpet a little, and then you just pull it away. No, but yeah, it's Konami platformer though. Konami is not without its games that should or should not have been ported over. I mean, you gotta think about it. Even Contra Force, that was not a Contra game on the Famicom. That was a different series, and they brought it over because it was still excellent game. It's just not Contra. It's more of a strategic platform. You have to move a little more predictably in the game. But yeah, so this game is pretty cool. I would give it a play because it's very affordable.
How much is it going for?
99 cents.
Oh man, I'll buy it for $1.
I'll buy that for $1. So for a budget game though, really cool. I will deal I may not go back and play it over and over again because of the little nuances, but if they honed that in or made it a toggle option in the options or something, it has some replayability. It'd be NES fun.
I mean, you never know that they may. I could see them, later on maybe making an extra deluxe version of it. Maybe twerk some of the gameplay and then maybe add some more levels or something. That'd be cool.
So I might have been playing it on easy or medium because there's difficulty levels from easy to Holy Gaiden.
Holy Gaiden.
Wow. Holy Gaiden. It says part man, part blade, all badass. like these guys have some good writing, retro writing for this game. So it's a very interesting perspective. I'll tell you that. But yeah, that was my retro randomizer. I hit random, and that's what popped up, and it is a cool one. It was one of the ones I got for $1. That was in my my latest Steam purchases.
Indeed, and going over the horizon.
Yeah, you got 4 games ready.
Oh yeah, and these
that's
This looked like a lot of fun. The first game I want to talk about is the Runa and the Chaikurú Legacy. Is that how it's
Not bad. True Legacy. Runa. Yeah, it's like because like I don't like to add just all the same type of games to our on the horizon, and this one just looks like a classic PS1, PS2 era collectathon 3D platformer. It looks really cool.
That's what I put. I put old school like PS2 style. I definitely got those vibes. And I put something interesting. I put it feels like a long lost rental, if that makes any sense.
Rental?
Yeah, like maybe a game that you rented a long time ago. You rented it once, you forgot the name, and then later on down the line, someone starts mentioning that game, and you're like, "Wait, I think I played this." And you play it, and you're like, "Huh, this seems," because it had this very nostalgia, like familiarity to it. I was watching it. I'm like, man, that's kind of cool. It's a really really cool game.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is that the publisher of it is Qbyte, which they're down in Mexico, but they have a pretty good penchant for picking some fun games. And there was a game I had played. I'm looking for it right now, but I had played it when I was with Premium back in the day. But it was like a 3D platformer, and it was cool. And like, thought it was one that Premium might actually release later in the future, but I can't find the game, so I don't know.
It was really cool.
It was cool as hell, and I played it. I was like, "Oh, this is a cool one," because there was a lot of times where we would like be playing stuff, and I I was like, "All right, are we releasing this, Matt?" Like, because I took a step back a while ago, so yeah, but yeah, it's an interesting perspective. But Runa looks cool as hell. Looks fun. It's what's the pricing on it? $15, so it's a normal pricing of the game. Action elements, several areas to explore, and there's a interesting story with some lore in there, so that's pretty cool. It does look like too when you're doing some more of the action-based platforming that it'll move to a 2D side-scrolling perspective too.
I saw that. I like how there was like a scene where like you're running from a boss and it almost turns into like Crash Bandicoot, like that kind of like narrow runway sort of.
And then it does the behind the over the shoulder too.
Yeah, it looks really really cool. Now this next game. I'm gonna let you introduce this because what I put in the show notes in big exclamation marks, Little Fox Dude looks solid.
Little Fox Dude? You must be talking about which game is it that you're talking about right now?
It's the Ailuri.
You're talking about Ailuri, or you're talking about So Ailuri, Ailuri. So this is a indie 2D platformer. It has some aesthetics of like your Ori and the Blind Forest style, but you're a cute fox.
Yeah, looks fun.
Game looks beautiful. There's definitely some giant bosses that I saw, which looked cool as hell. And I mean, it's just a cozy little platformer. Like, looks fun. Probably not cozy at all. It's probably brutally hard or something.
Oh yeah. Yeah, a game that looks that nice is probably going to be brutally hard. That's just
especially when it says like survive against the Deja Sorrel. It's like heartbreaking story, and I'm like, oh god. And there's like a spot where everything's on fire, and there's like this Mecha Godzilla looking demon thing attacking. What? It's a pretty cozy, cutesy game. Thing is,
for us.
Here's the thing, though. And we still haven't done it because we're both knuckleheads and we're procrastinators. But there is a couch co-op mode. There is couch co-op, not online, but at least so you can play this game with 2 characters, which is interesting for a platformer.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, you have level-based gameplay. You have puzzles, obstacles, hidden secrets. So a platformer with a little bit of hidden treats, and you can play with 2 players. Now, who knows if it's like 2 players platforming or one plays like a little bonus character or something.
Yeah. I had to check that out for sure.
Ailuri. Wild. But yeah, so that game looks cool. And did we see the price of it? It's on sale right now for $13.49.
Oh, not bad. Like a McDonald's combo.
And then every time I'm also looking to see if they've done anything else. And the last 2 games this is the only game that these developers have done.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Well, this next game right here, I want to say the music to the trailer. Maybe I can't remember the name of the song, but I know the band. It made me think of Deftones. I heard the song and I'm like, that's Deftones.
I don't know, Xander Scramble. I don't have any sound going on right now, so I can't. But are we talking about Sworn?
Indeed.
Dude, I saw this one just from the trailer. It definitely has Hades vibes, like being a roguelike game. Because this is a roguelike overhead. But is this the one? But it's like Arthurian legend, like King Arthur lore with Hades style gameplay. So you're basically running through the game like King Arthur, which I thought was dope.
It seems like this like Hades, roguelike styles become like vastly popular. Because I mean, I was watching that and I couldn't help but think about the Ninja Turtles game that came out last year. The Splinter Dimension, game that came out. That was very much
Splintered Fate, Xander Scramble.
Splintered Fate, but it was very Hades like. It was very Hades. And so
what's interesting though is that Team 17 released this game. So while Windwalk Games is the developer, which is like an indie developer, this one is a 4-player co-op action roguelike. 4-player co-op.
Wow.
And then Team 17 released it, which they have tons of games that they've released, which is awesome. Like, this game's $25 too. So.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, it sounds like a more higher shelf game for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's still somewhat in that pocket because of the developer, but the developer is also fully linked to Team 17, so you can't see if they've done anything else. And I'm actually, as a historian, as a podcaster, as a gamer, I don't necessarily enjoy when a digital publisher overtakes a developer. So, like, that happens a lot in the NES era and things where it's like, this game was developed by Konami, and it's like, but was it, or did Konami publish it and some other small team developed it, or was it a small team in Konami that did it? Like, it's like Nintendo is notorious about it during the NES era, where there's so many, and so like this right here, like Windwalk, or was it Windwalk Studios? Well, like, we won't know if they've released anything else that's awesome, because like you click even on their profile, it goes to Team 17. Like, they take over the profile, and so I'm like, so you have to do more research going down rabbit holes, and hopefully there's somewhere that properly, like maybe Wikipedia's up to date or something, so that way, because otherwise, man, you're losing history pieces of all this. I'm not a big fan of that.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Because I mean, you think about like you said, the NES past. Like, you think about games like Castlevania. We don't really know too much about the developers behind Castlevania, like the original. Like, there's a couple of names that have gotten dropped over the years, but a lot of it has gotten lost. And while this seems like all new games, I mean, time goes on before you know it, we'll be looking back at some of these games and like, man, wow, that was like 15 years ago. Because there's like games that are now turning 15 years old.
It's not even like Castlevania. It's like the developers of a lesser known game, like a Jackal or Miracle of Almana or something else that people aren't as familiar about, that they're not already diving real deep into, because people have done documentaries on Castlevania or Contra, or the big ones, but the smaller ones within this same construct are like lost to happen. Freaking crazy, man. And you're not wrong, like the timeline has become longer. So back when Retro Gamer magazine came out, we're like, well, is this gonna, like, these games are disc based, they're not really retro. And it was like 15 years was when the Atari was released. From that point, 15 years. Now you look back 20 years, and that was 2005.
Yeah.
We're in PS2 era, heavy in the PS2 era, going into PS3 essentially, and it's like an Xbox 360. And so you're talking about Xbox 360 is in that same constant. That's 20 years ago,
And that feels like yesterday. It feels like yesterday that we were playing a 360.
so you're not wrong. Like, these timelines are going to fly by, but also like things aren't going to be preserved correctly if they're not documented somewhere. And I can't do 60,000 games a year, Xander, in a book. So not with that attitude. Like, I'm telling you, man, like it is a wild world, and my brain is crazy.
And speaking of crazy, this game right here,
It's crazy.
this game, wow, my voice cracked. I just hit puberty. This game, kind of made me think of like Landstalker and Solstice.
Really? Which one are we talking about?
This is Aarik and the Ruined Kingdom.
Oh. So the vibe that I got out of it was more like a Tunic. And also Fez. Very much Fez was, because I like those puzzles. Like, it's like the 3D rotating stuff. Like, it just looks like they took the graphics from like a Fez and decided to jump down. And again, another developer that this is their only game. Like, this stuff's crazy. Like, there's so many of these awesome little gems, and this is like a 3D puzzle platformer, is what it is. And I mean, you're getting the Solstice because of the isometric aspects of it, right? Because it's like the graphics have that isometric to it. But then mine are more off of the graphical style. It has that Zelda Link's Awakening remake.
Yeah, I put in Echoes of Wisdom in my show notes. That is definitely got some Echoes of Wisdom, especially when you are like dropping the items and stuff like that with the puzzle aspect to it. I was like, oh yeah, it's kind of like Echoes of Wisdom in that regard, you know.
And the game's $8, so it's definitely not an expensive one. So affordable experience. Also, platformer game. They've done a mega update within the last month, so that's been nice that they're still showing support to the game. And I mean, you're playing as like a little king, and like the game just looks fun. We talked about it on episodes where after playing like a big game or an action heavy game, we do need that decompression game, and this is one of those that fits in there, like little puzzle platform or stuff. Like, that's why I always gravitate toward a variety and throwing some of this stuff in there, because this is like, all right, I have went through and played my Blade Chimera, where I'm going, and Blade Chimera, I've died a few times and had to retrace my steps. Like, I've died a couple times, and it's like, oh, I just got rid of a ton of freaking map progression to fucking go right back through it. So then I'm like, all right, so then you go into Aarik and the Ruined Kingdom, and you decompress a little.
Yeah, it looks cozy. Looks like one of those little cozy games.
Get cozy with Aarik.
But not this game. This game does not look cozy. This game is not cozy at all. This game, I put in the show notes, I put in, oh, this game would get me mad, but I wouldn't stop playing it. And that is RITE.
So, looks like it takes inspiration from Super Meat Boy.
Yeah, which I have a history with that game. Like, I love Super Meat Boy, but it pissed me off so much, but I would not put it down. And I was getting that vibe when I was watching the trailer for it, because it looks insane. Like you're like jumping through like 20 saw blades.
Yeah. Well, and that's what gives me the Meat Boy vibe, is because you have that, but like it doesn't look like there's a gimmick like Celeste in there where you could do the extra like different things. It looks like it's simply you go from point A to point B and complete the level, Super Meat Boy style, which is good, because there are games, even ones that premium sign, like They Bleed Pixels, which that one adds a fighting single button complex combo mechanic to attack enemies, which I thought was a cool ass aspect. This one, pixel perfect platforming. So you want the opposite of cozy? This is the one that'll yes you the hell out, and you'll. But I like playing those games, and the game's $5, so it's a budget title. Really, really fun. I think the graphics look really good too. It's like nice and retro looking, and it's brand new. It was released 2020. And this is the first one that has another first developer that is working on something else.
Oh,
And it is an action platformer that looks more like a Castlevania style game. Maybe it has some exploration in it, a Metroidvania. It's called Pipsqueak. It's coming out this year. Or it says to be announced, so assumption is this year. But you're like it has a lot of the same graphical aesthetics with saw blades and things, but you're like a mouse with a Jedi robe on, basically. Like a knight mouse, almost. And it looks like it's much more adventure-based. So that's where I get the Metroidvania or Castlevania action platformer vibes. Yeah, that game looks like cool, too.
I have to check that out. Yeah, it's because like I said, RITE just looked like one of those games that it's gonna make me so mad. But I'm like, one more game, just one more game, because
and when it does it level by level, if you go through and you had to complete the level a few times, but when you beat it, you get the little endorphin hit, the little rush, and it's all right. Let's go to the next level now. And you're making that slow progression. There is a game that I have played over the last few years, and I still haven't finished the third one, but there's also a Switch unique one. I don't know if you played the Dadish series.
No, I haven't.
So Dadish is you're playing as a Dad Radish, and you play through the level, and your kids are all lost. And there are 3 Dadish games, and then there's a game on the Switch called Daily Dadish, where it's a new level every single day. But Dadish is a super cool, pixel perfect platforming. There's some saw blades, there are some enemies that you gotta dodge and things, but then you can get to the end of the level, and you can move on to the next one. Daily Dadish adds a timer. Oh my god, makes it stressful as shit, because you want to get you want to break the little star rating or whatever. But the normal game does not, and so you just get through the level and survive and go to the next level. And I over the years have beaten Dadish 1, beaten Dadish 2, because I'll literally just fire it up every once in a while and play one more level. And over the years, I think I started Dadish 3, and that's as far as I know, there's only 3, unless there's been new ones released in the last few years. But then the Daily Dadish I played for like that first year it was released on Switch, which was like 2022, 2023 is when Daily Dadish was released on Switch. I thought that was a cool idea, though. Every day you get to play a new level.
Yeah, and those games are always, in my opinion, I think those are probably really challenging games to make that have a perfect blend of, exciting, difficult, but not to the point where it just makes you want to stop playing, because that's like some of the, I think of like Mario Maker, because some of my favorite levels of Mario Maker were like RITE, where it's just insane, the endorphins when you finish the level, but sometimes you'd get those levels that were just like impossibly hard. It just wasn't fun. You're like, okay, yeah, you're like, I don't want to do this, So I feel like there has to be that perfect blend, and that's what I liked about Meat Boy, and that's what I want to check out with this one for sure.
Yeah, I liked when Mario Maker 2 came out with the worlds, so people would create their own worlds, and it seemed like the worlds, at least when it first came out, it felt like they were less trolly than just going through random levels.
Yeah.
And I think you could turn trolling off, or there's some way to make sure that it is like fair, or you just put it as easy or something. But I mean, there's literally people that live stream that just play the hard shit, and they're really talented. So I just enjoy playing like Mario 3, Mario World, like constructed, crafted worlds.
Yeah. Oh man.
But yeah, like little RITE, RITE looks cool. It's what I say, it's like $5. So
yeah, I put that in the show notes. I want to check that out. Definitely.
Yep, you're always adding more to the wish list.
Every episode.
There's
some. There are some There are some that I have purchased that I haven't played yet. Like going back to some of our older episodes, like the ballpoint pen game, like that one. I ended up buying that one. Haven't played it yet, but
Man, shame. It's not like I have 1,000 of those. Literally to the point where I hit random on my Steam Deck and I don't play the same game twice. And it's been like a year. It's been 8 years, like 8 years probably. It's probably been forever. So following up to last episode, I said I was going to check something out, and I did. I remember we were talking about the mod retro games.
right, yeah.
They do not work in my analog pocket.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I plugged in, the game that we showed off in the episode, plugged it into my analog pocket, did not work. Did a Google search, said that a lot of those do not work, but somebody, and I think it was just a joke, said they blew in their cartridge and blew in their console and they work. And I'm like, bullshit. I did end up going down a rabbit hole though, and then I updated my NES, Genesis, Super Nintendo, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, all with the modern homebrew games, aftermarket games. Because if you go on Internet Archive, they have every game. With the ones that are currently for sale, they're pretty good about only putting the demos on there, which is nice. So that way they're not like taken away from the indie developers that make for games for the modern consoles. So I was able to play because this one's the one I'm pointing there because that's where it's sitting in my collection. But the mod retro one is like Deluxe or DX or something. So I played like the original version of the game, and it's pretty fun. The little Game Boy platformer game, and the different mechanics in it are cool too. But I did play it, but the damn cartridge doesn't work.
That is that's very interesting. I wonder what kind of I wonder if it's like some sort of like proprietary like chip in the Chromatic or something. I don't know. That's weird.
The Chromatic mod retro says it works in all hardware, and that's what it says on the back of the box, and it does not work in the analog pocket. The analog pocket is doing emulation. Not to say that analog isn't going to release like an update that will just fix compatibility in the future.
Yeah,
because that's the one good thing about modern. The other thing is I have 6 games, so I haven't opened the other 5. But considering that one doesn't work, and in that thread there were 2 other games that people were playing, not that one, that were having issues, I am hesitant to open another one, especially when I ripped the box open.
Yeah, the box rips the way it does.
Yeah, so I'm hesitant to do it until I can know for sure that it works. But I would love to just put in my cartridges and play my games. That would be cool without having to buy the Chromatic that I don't necessarily need.
Yeah.
But there's your update on the mod retro Game Boy games. They don't necessarily work. I don't think I have any other. I do. I have a couple other Game Boy homebrews that are they're not like sealed, so I'm gonna check those out and see if those work in the analog pocket this week. So another fun test for the going down the rabbit hole.
Indeed. And if you want to go down the rabbit hole of Jeffrey Wittenhagen, you need to check out his Patreon. It's where
definitely check out the Patreon.
Yeah, what have you been up to with the Patreon? Like, what kind of, other than the beautiful slate coaster of the Indie Credible podcast?
So making cool stuff, and remember that there are tiers for that. There's a producer tier and the executive producer tier, which we also will say your name at the end of every episode. And every quarter, you'll get something cool. So the Patreon should be fully transitioned over at the end of this month. So the first quarter will begin where I'm going to have some cool items. And it may be a slate coaster, it might be something else that's cool. We'll see. And then I'm also working on for the executive producers, they get a exclusive wooden book cover for either a future or previous release. So,
indeed,
yeah. Yeah, it's been a wild week too because I also have gotten in all the Metroidvania Volume 2 books in. So I signed over 80 books that people requested I sign, so, and then those got to go out in the mail. 80 books is a little heavy. It's a lot of books. So
Oh yeah,
I have been busy.
indeed, indeed, and yeah, I think this is going to conclude another episode of the Indie Credible podcast. But and before we go, we have to give some very important shout outs to our executive producers. And again, you can join Jeff Rubin Hagen's Patreon, Hagen's Alley. I'll have a link on the description to this episode. But yeah, let's do some shout outs. Some folks that really, really help us out and give us some good support. So,
I'll let you do the first one this week.
oh man. And then the thing is, I know I'm going to mess it up. Akaroth.
Akroloth. That's probably better than what I said. That's just. Then you got your guy. It was the same with the retro, the retro joke earlier. This is the Burner Turner.
Indeed. And we also have David Isherwood from across the pond.
And then you got Lunchbox, aka the Disgruntled Gamer on YouTube, from Thunderdome Gaming Society, is the longest name of all names.
Indeed, indeed. And again, we want to thank you guys for checking us out, and we will be back next week. As always, guys, happy gaming and support indie.
Thank you, everyone, for checking out this episode of Indie Credible. There we go. Make sure you follow us. We have lots of stuff going on every week on YouTube on Fridays, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you check out Indie Gaming Gems. That is the structured review / preview series about 10 indie games you may not have heard of.
And you can check me out, Xander Scullion, across the board. I kept it real simple for you guys. You can check me out on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. And, on my channel, I'll cover a little series called Play and Tell, where I talk about games I've been playing, leave little short impressions, mini reviews, and most importantly, when you walk away, you have something new to play. So you can check out my Play and Tell series. I also have some reviews that I put out every once in a while, and a live stream, which I'm really trying to commit and have a dedicated schedule. So that's more important that you hit the bell so you're notified whenever I'm live, because you never know. I might be live right now.
Yes, he's always live.
Oh,
Always. And then, of course, I have all of my books at hagensalley.com. You can check out. I've had like dozens of books published. I try to upload and keep things up to date with the latest reviews, the latest books up there, but they have to be in hand. So if you follow me on social medias, you'll see when the newest Kickstarter goes live, the backer kit goes live, the newest crowdfunding thing is going live. And as soon as you become a backer, there's updates that go out all the time. So we're always working on new books and new series and new things. Of course, upcoming, coordinated with this podcast, will be Indie Gaming Gems, which will be coming out next year sometime. It'll be fun time here for us in the indie gaming world.